The Greater Centerville Historians organized in the year 2000. The purpose of the organization is to preserve the history of the Township of Centerville, Cleveland and surrounding area. Gerald O'Neill, Charliebauer, Richard Wiegand, and myself, Kathleen Sixel, were the founding members. In 1831, the territory south of Green Bay was sold to the U.S. government by the Native Americans who had title to the land. The consideration was the promise of a reservation in another state. The Township of Centerville was established in 1850. The township had a village called Centerville. The reason for the hamlet's original name of Centerville was, in the days of the Indians, there was a trail along Lake Michigan between Manitowoc and Sheboygan. This heavenly spot was exactly at the halfway mark, so the early white man gave it the name Centerville. In 1849, the village of Centerville was surveyed and laid out in lots and blocks. The village of Centerville was renamed Hika when the Postmaster General informed the village leaders that another Centerville was located in the state. When it became time for Centerville to be renamed, a judge in Manitowoc by the name of Albert Schmidt would take kids hiking. The judge said, "You can't call a town hiking, so why not make it Hika?" Thus, the village of Centerville became Hika. In the early years, Centerville had the vision of becoming a lake port. To encourage ships to dock there, 2 piers were built into Lake Michigan. Many German immigrants arrived by schooners, and the village began to grow. The village had a brick factory, stores, schools, a Lutheran and a Catholic church, mills, saloons, blacksmith shop, and a fire department, and a brewery. When the brewery was built, the settlement began to flourish. But when fire destroyed the brewery, the largest industry, there was no longer a need for the harbor facilities. So ended this chapter of the development of Hika. 2 miles west of Hika, another settlement known as St. Wendel began to grow. It had a Catholic church, a general store with a connected dance hall, and a post office was also located in the complex, a funeral parlor, and at one time a motel. With the clearing of the forest, tilling of the land began. This prompted the exporting of lumber and grains. The farmers of Centerville looked forward to the building of a railway since they had a serious problem transporting their products. In 1873, the Milwaukee, Lakeshore, and Western Railroad was built between the settlements of Hika and St. Wendel and was named Centerville Station. In 1880, Centerville Station was renamed Cleveland after President Grover Cleveland. Cleveland, at that point in time, owes its growth to the fact that the Township of Centerville was a rich farming community, and farmers for miles around would bring products to be shipped by rail or ship. The village of Cleveland had several grocery stores, a furniture store, a funeral parlor, several saloons, Lutheran church, hardware stores, several gas stations, newspaper, photographer studio, several car dealerships, cheese factory, several feed mills, livestock yard, and lumber yards. The biggest business was the Cleveland Co-op, which offered many types of services. With the failing of grain crops, the farmers began dairy farming. With the abundance of milk, another industry began, cheese and butter making. Local cheese factories dotted the countryside. One-room schools were usually built near the cheese factories, so children would have a ride to school when farmers brought their milk. In 1958, Hika, St. Wendel, and Cleveland incorporated into the village of Cleveland. In 1968, the Cleveland Elementary School was built. The Township of Centerville has seen many farming changes, but dairy farming is still the primary vocation. Today, Cleveland is known as the seat of Lakeshore Technical College, which offers an educational alternative to 4-year colleges. An ancient proverb states, When an old person dies, a library burns to the ground. These words were the inspiration for organizing the Greater Centerville Historians. We hope to preserve as many memories as possible.
Doing wonders with this group, and she's the spark plug of our little get-togethers, and she'll identify herself and give us some information pertaining to regulations, if you will.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Kathy Sixel, and welcome everybody to the meeting of the Greater Centerville Historians. We are real laid back, but we just have a few rules. Number one, please raise your hand when you have information to add so Mr. O'Neill can get over to you, because we don't want to miss anything. Always state full names, your name, plus if you're talking about someone, state their full name. Don't use a nickname. And please do not visit when Jerry is running the camera, because it picks up on the tape after a while. Always pass the pictures around when we pass pictures, and talk real loud when you're talking into the camera so everyone in the room can hear you. Otherwise, we miss so much information. Okay?
Very good, Kathy. And would you like to identify yourself one more time and where you live, please?
I'm Kathy Sixel, and I live on County Trunk X, Newton, Wisconsin.
Thank you. And who do you have here, please?
I'm Jeanette L. Fritz, and I live on South Union Road.
Okay, thank you very much. And who do we have here?
I'm Mary Olson, and I live on Orchard Road.
Thank you. And who do you have here, please?
I'm Rita Bonde, and I live on County Trunk A near St. Nazianz.
Okay, well, welcome. And who do you have here, please?
Alex Bonde. I live on County Trunk A.
All right, thank you very much. And who do you have here, please?
Janet Miller, Dorothy Anderson's daughter. Sometimes I'm in Hika, otherwise I live up north.
Okay, up north is where, please?
Loretta, Wisconsin.
Loretta, Wisconsin. Never heard of it, but okay, and who do you have here, please?
Kathy Wagner, and I live on Washington Avenue in the village of Cleveland.
Thank you. And who do you have here, please?
Joe Kress, live in the town of Mosel.
Okay, thank you. And who do we have here?
Walter Kress, I live in East Washington, Cleveland.
Thank you very much, Walter. And who do you have here, please?
I'm Mary Wetsy. I live on Orchard Road, down in Warsaw.
Okay, thank you. And who do you have here?
I'm Janet Seefeld, and I live on Madison Street here in Cleveland.
Very good, thank you. And who do you have here?
Hi, I'm Jeanette Johnson, and I live on Juniper Street in the village of Cleveland.
Thank you very much. And who do you have here, please?
Melvin Yaney, and I live on 871 Linden Street.
Thank you. And who do you have here?
Ellsworth Yeager, Sheboygan, Wisconsin.
Very good, thank you. And who do you have here, please?
Clarence Brooks in Cleveland.
Thank you, Clarence. And who do you have here?
Virginia Brookshire, Cleveland.
Very good. And we will go down the line here.
Randall Byrd, live on West Washington Road, Newton.
Okay, very good, thank you. And who do you have here, please?
Roman Bonde, live in School Hill.
You live right in School Hill. Thank you for coming. And who do you have here, please?
I'm Margie Bonde. I'm Donald's wife.
Okay, thank you.
I live with Donald.
Say that one more time. What was that again, please?
And I said I'm Margie Bonde. I'm Donald's wife, and I live with Donald.
Oh, wonderful. Very good, thank you. And in the back row, I need some volume from you, please. Your name and where you live, please.
Ted Bonde, Manitowoc.
Okay, thank you. And who do you have here, please?
Jeanette Bonde, Manitowoc.
Very good. And the next one, please.
Francis Hutchison, Manitowoc.
Very good. And the next person, please.
Your name. Loretta Kinney, Manitowoc.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. And now we'll come back here, and I think we left off, and we'll go into this corner. Go right ahead, please.
I'm Betty Bonde. I live in School Hill.
Thank you very much. And who do you have here?
John Wiegand, town of Centerville.
Thank you. And who do you have here, please?
Audrey Ertl, St. Nazianz.
Very good. And who do you have here?
Irene Dine, Cleveland.
Thank you, Irene. And who do you have here, please?
Carl Ziegler, Cleveland.
Thank you, Carl. And who do you have here?
I'm Frederick Jacoby, and I live in Manitowoc.
Very good. And who do you have here, please?
Paul Jacoby from Cleveland.
Thank you. And who do we have here?
Marie Pippard, Cleveland.
Thank you, Marie. And here?
Edith Litzy, Cleveland.
Thank you. And who do we have here, please?
Wanda Sowell from Sheboygan Falls.
Okay, thank you for coming. And who do we have here, please?
I'm Russell Bonde. I live on West Washington Road.
Okay, very good. And who do we have here?
Charliebauer, Highway C, Newton.
Okay, thank you.
Karen Hennings, I live in Kiel.
Okay, thank you. And who do we have here, please?
Cheryl Cloak, I live on Umstunst Road in Cleveland.
I never heard of that one. Okay, say that one more time, please.
Umstunst Road.
Umstunst Road. Thank you very much. Well, my name is Jerry O'Neill, the videographer for the Greater Centerville Historians, and I live on Range Line Road in the town of Newton. And I think we'll now pan ourselves back to Kathy, and she can give us some other directives, I guess, at this point. We'll go from wherever she directs us.
Okay, the picture that you see on the screen is the one that was on the postcard, and right now it is in color. And we want to thank the family, or the Bonde family, and all their supporters for coming this evening to share the history of their establishment.
Okay, very good.
And we'll let Sherry and Karen Hennings take over the program.
Okay, very good. Thank you. I'm going to cut right here. Okay, I've got a young lady here who'd like to identify herself and indicate what she's going to be doing. Go right ahead, please.
Okay, I'm Cheryl Bonde Cloak, and the whole concept of Bonde's Quik Mart began back in April of 1979 when Charles, whose name was Chubby Kramer, and Donald Bonde purchased the property that consisted of 2 houses from the estate of Henry and Olive Cody for $25,000. The greenhouse on that property was converted from a hamburger restaurant into a rental property. The entire parcel was approximately 1.2 acres. And I think we have a picture of the other house on the property. So there was a greenhouse closer to the corner of Westview, and then a white house that was also rented out. The houses were rented out for a few years. A few of the Bonde children rented this house that we're looking at right now on the property. Russell Bonde remembers telling Donald that people would stop off of the new interstate asking where they could get gas in Cleveland. Keep in mind that the co-op was only open during business hours and certainly not on Sundays. Do any of you remember Teresa's, who had gas on the opposite side of Westview Street? Yes.
Okay.
And she still, I believe, had one pump outside of her bar that she would open up if she was doing business at that time. Due to the illness of Charles, Donald purchased his half. Okay.
A little louder.
Due to the illness of Charles Kramer, Donald purchased his half for $15,000, and the tearing down of the houses began in approximately 1981, and the construction of Bonde's Quik Mart began shortly after that, in 1982. On August 31st, 1982, Bonde's Quik Mart opened for business. This was right before the Labor Day weekend, and the cash register was ordered but hadn't arrived yet. However, the gas had arrived, so Donald and Margie, with the help of a small cash drawer and a calculator, opened the doors and sold gas for that first Labor Day weekend. Bonnie Stiefvater was the first employee to be hired. Business quickly picked up. Other Bonde family members that worked at Bonde's in the beginning were myself, Cheryl, Mary Anna, Randy's wife, Mary Emma, Russell's wife, Jeanette Johnson, who's here this evening, was hired in March of 1983. Both Jeanette and Bonnie have been with Bonde's for the entire 25 years that we've been in business. We've got just a few pictures of the early years that we'd like to share with you. The first picture that we have is my brother Roger. Roger and Gary, my older brother, also worked at Bonde's in those early years. Roger is working the till, and that's Donald you see near the door. The next picture that we have is when we added a deli case to the Quik Mart, and this is Julie Weber filling the deli case. The next picture that we have is Jeanette Johnson working the till. As you can see, there are some cigarettes laying out on the counter there ready for people to come along and pick up. That is something that you could do years ago, but is no longer something that you can do now. Now the cigarettes are all kept behind the counter and you need to ask for them. The fourth picture, the girls would often get dressed up at Halloween time. So we have Donald and Sherryscheidt with the beautiful orange hair. We have Mary Olson, who's also here tonight, still one of our employees, dressed up with the green and the apron, and Colleen Meninan. And we don't know where she is now. Always had a lot of fun working at Bonde's. The next picture is a picture of Beatsy Meyer, who worked in our bakery and deli for many years. As you can see, all the bread and rolls stacked behind her as she's wrapping up some fresh baked goodies to get ready for sale. The next is a picture of quite a few of our employees that have gathered together for a party. And here we've got the names even listed on the bottom. Betty Bonde, who's here this evening with us.
Can you tip that one, Charlie? There we go.
Barb Groff. We're in the back row now. Julie Weber.
Okay.
Marcy Stein. Jeanette Johnson. Joan Schmidt, who worked in our bakery for a while. Mary Olson. Bonnie Stiefvater. Donald. And Sherryscheidt. One of the things that we really enjoyed to do at Bonde's is make floats. During those early years, we wanted to get our name out not only in the Cleveland area, but we often would enter our floats in the Newton parade, and we figured as long as we had that float built and had put so much work into it, we'd often enter it in the Kiel parade also. So one of the first floats was titled A Rainbow of Choices. And this picture shows Wanda, myself, and our nephew Adam on the float. We converted a flat rack hay wagon to build our float on, and I think we still get it out yet once in a while. This year we ended up taking second place in the Kiel parade. The whole family came out to help construct this float, as it took thousands of tissue carnations to make up the rainbow. That was in 1984. In 1986, we put together a float titled, We Take the Extra Step to Serve You at Bonde's Quik Mart. So why is there no C in the Quik Mart? Well, according to Donald, we had to make it quick, so they dropped the C, and we spelled it Q-U-I-K. The next float that we did was in 1988 to celebrate the recent opening of our deli and bakery. We went with the slogan, Sink your teeth into Bonde's buns.
Oh boy.
This picture shows again family members, Mary Emma, myself, Karen, and our nieces Heidi and Christine as two little ice cream cones down there.
I'm going to take over for a while.
Okay.
I'm Karen Hennings, and I'm from Kiel. And I guess I'll go on. Another cute float idea we used was, parade watchers saw you knows it's good at Bonde's Quik Mart. In 1991, featured a deck of cards. telling people you always get a good deal at Bonde's. I don't know how well you know Donald, but he loves to play cards. And many of his grandchildren are dressed as cards. This picture shows Natasha, Adam, Jenny, Robbie, Sarah, Kara, Heidi, Christine, Leah, and Kelly. In the next picture, the CITGO mini car is shown. We've ridden that little car in just about every parade there's been. It's a very tiny car. Sometimes we've asked people who are too tall. They can't even get into it. It's a tiny little thing, Donald fit perfectly. In the next picture, you can see we go the extra mile. I don't know if you can tell, but Donald is running with the Olympic torch. It had to have been in the year 2000 when the Olympics was going on. So we had his picture on that runner, his face on there. The next float we had came from the popular TV show Survivor. So we challenged customers to be a Bonde's survivor. After Bonde's was open for only a short 5 years, we felt the need to expand. In September of 1985, Donald purchased an additional 1.2 acres from Eugene Steggy for $15,000. In the spring of 1987, the building was enlarged to accommodate a business office and a bakery deli department. It was called the Country Deli and still is called that today. Mary Olson, Margie Bonde, and Cheryl Cloak took classes in Appleton to learn the baking process. The recipes for deviled eggs and Ranger cookies came directly from the kitchen of Margie Bonde and are still used today. Mary Olson, who started with the bakery, will be with Bonde's 20 years next May. Thanks, Mary. She can vividly remember the small freezer, no copy machines, every day's breakout, and baked goods were recorded manually with pencil and paper. Breaks were taken by sitting on an empty frosting bucket right in that small little kitchen. She even remembers a particularly hot day when Uncle Teddy brought the girls in the kitchen an ice cream cone to fight the 95-degree day. They were very pleased with that ice cream cone. With that expansion, Donald was able to offer Cedar Crest ice cream, and that too is still available at both the Quik Marts today. In April of 1992, Amy Kapelka, Donald's granddaughter, was hired as cashier. She's now serving as office assistant and assistant manager at the Cleveland store. I began my career at Bonde's in December of 1992. From 1992 until 96, I was able to learn the business from Donald, one of the best entrepreneurs in the Cleveland area, in my opinion. On the next picture, okay, here I am working in a cramped office. I can recall from this picture that we had already added a surveillance camera. That was beginning to be the thing those days. And we had an ATM in the store, an automatic time machine where people could take money out of their bank accounts. In the next picture, we had groundbreaking for the next building project when we decided to build the new store. Here is the board of directors from Bonde's Quik Mart. And that would be Russell, myself, Donald, Cheryl, and Randy. When we became a corporation, I believe in 1992, then we followed the rules pretty closely. We had regular board meetings. We voted a board together from our family, and we meet regularly. And we always had a shareholder meeting every year to let everyone who was a shareholder, which was our family members, what was going on with the Quik Mart and with the company itself. I think we have another picture. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
This is the tanks that are now underground. We had steel tanks before, and of course those could rust and get holes in and contaminate our groundwater. So they suggested using fiberglass tanks, and that's just a picture of those. What else have we got? I think we got a little out of line. I don't know how many of you remember that little trailer. When we built the new store, our plans were to build a new one, then tear down the old one and move right into it. Well, it didn't quite work that way. We had to tear down the old store, and we couldn't see our customers without gas or some of those conveniences, so we brought in a little trailer and slowly added things. We started out with just gas, and then we thought, gosh, we have to have coffee for those morning people, so we put a coffee pot in there, and then we thought, gee, maybe somebody might like some chips or a candy bar. Well, in that 1 month that the trailer was open, we had filled it up with a lot of things. And then we were able to move into the new store. That is actually the old store. Our brother Dan, we couldn't see throwing it away, so he took it and moved it on his farm, and now it houses cattle. We're not a throwaway family. In this picture, there's just the erection of the high-rise sign for Bonde's and Burger King. When we built the store, we built it large enough to be able to rent out about a third of it, and we paired up with Burger King. In this picture, we are celebrating our grand opening. So we have Mary, Anna, Wanda, and in the background there is my brother Tony. They were popping popcorn. I think we were giving popcorn away one of the days. Okay, we can go on, I guess. Here's a pretty recent picture. If you want to point, starting from left, is Ann Albright. She's been with us on and off nearly 10 years. In the back is Mary Olson, Bonnie Stiefvater again. And the next picture is Amy Kopelka, Donald's granddaughter. Next is Karen Bryant, Dawn Kelm, and myself. We just all happened to be there one day when the photographer came by, and it just kind of shows you what it takes to run a place like that. 7 of us were there, you know, on that one day. So, again, this must have been our 20th year anniversary, I believe. We had a brat fry, we had a clown come out and get some balloons ready for some little kids. I don't know if you noticed, but this week just happens to be our 25th anniversary celebration.
Wow.
So again, that balloon is actually laying on the ground today. It will be blown up tomorrow. And we're offering lots of items for 25 cents to celebrate 25 years. So you'll have to stop in.
I'd like to add, I can see on the price of the gas here was $1.48 a gallon, by the way.
Yeah.
It's way up on the corner here.
Okay.
And that was just in the year 2002. That isn't that long ago.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. In 2003, of course, we thought we should expand again. So we went ahead and bought a store in Kiel. I live in Kiel, and I thought, okay, I can handle this. It's close by. So we bought the corner of 57 and Foundry Road from Guskey's in Sheboygan, and we opened. That's the way it looks today. It was a gray building before. Every day, nearly every day, I bring sandwiches from the deli here in Cleveland and bakery, and I take that there so that we can keep the Bonde's tradition of the baked goods and things like that. That just happens to be the building that was on that corner in Kiel in 1960. Shortly after we bought it, someone shared that with me. It was a used car lot, and it also was a service station. Humble, looks like it says Humble Used Cars. I guess that was the name of it. Yeah, that is the last picture. I guess now I'd kind of like to share some things we talked about, old versus new. When we first started, we had to go out daily and stick the tanks with a big long stick to record how much gas was in each one, so we were sure things weren't leaking. Today we have automatic tank gauges that do that for us. We simply go in the back room, tear a strip of paper off, and make sure everything's okay. We used to be able to burn garbage. That, of course, we don't do today. I'm sure some of you probably remember when we had homemade chocolate eclairs. We did everything manually. It was in 1999 that we added computers. And other than that, all the billing, everything was done manually, as many of you probably can remember. We contemplated being open 24 hours, but police tell us if we do that, we should put up bulletproof glass because it's the highway and these days things are dangerous. So we just stick with what we've got right now. It opens at 4 and the employees leave at 11, so we're just closed a few hours. But we really don't want the impersonal. We really still want it to be a family thing, and it's nice to be able to speak with people, not behind a bulletproof glass. The equipment that's there is very sophisticated. When we have troubles with a pump, for instance, we can call a service tech, and he can spend a few hours, leave a few days, same thing comes back. It's so hard to pinpoint how to fix things with the sophisticated equipment, much different again from years ago. So I guess that's about where we are. I wonder how many of you can think of some of the old versus new, especially 25 years ago.
Thank you. Very good. Thanks a lot. Okay, we got a lady who had her hand up. She'll identify herself.
I'm Kathy Sixel, and I would like to know the red tanks. Where are they buried? The gas tanks. We can put the picture back up if I can find it.
We got a lady who has had a question put to her. Go right ahead, please.
Okay, under the flagpole, and there's a little rock garden there, that's where the tanks are buried.
Okay. And do you know the amount of gallons, perhaps, of these tanks?
There's one tank that holds 15,000, one that holds 10, and two that hold 8.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, that totals up to be quite a bit of fuel.
Especially at $3 a gallon.
Yeah. Does that include diesel and regular gas? Is that all your gases, like ethyl, if you call it that nowadays, or high octane, regular, diesel, whatever?
Right, it's regular unleaded, mid-grade, premium, and diesel.
Okay.
None of our gas has any ethanol in it. We
Okay.
can make that choice.
Right.
I think we feel that cars run better without it, so we don't add ethanol to the fuel.
Okay. Okay. Very good. Thank you. We got a lady who had her hand up. She apparently wants to identify herself.
Kathy Sixel, and I want to know if you still have the chocolate eclairs, or what happened to them. I want to know that, yeah.
Okay, thank
I
you.
can't think of the other question right this minute. I have another question.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we got a lady who will identify herself and may be able to answer some questions.
Okay, Karen Hennings. Chocolate eclairs, we had in the first deli where we would cook the filling and make them up. They went over for a while, and after a while, people just weren't buying them much. So we dropped them off for a while, and we did offer them for a short time in the news store, I believe. We don't offer them immediately, but I guess if there's a need, we can do that.
Okay, thank you. I have a question for you also. How many licenses do you need to run that kind of a store?
We need a license to sell food.
Okay,
We need licenses for each of the tanks.
for each of the tanks.
Each tank has its own permit.
Okay,
We need, of course, a liquor license,
Right?
and we need a license to sell, just to sell things. Just to be a retailer, we need a license.
Okay. Cigarettes perhaps too?
Cigarettes,
Okay.
license. We
I'm-
get inspected a lot. We
All
get
right.
inspected by the fire department, the health department, weights and measures,
Okay.
the air,
The air.
There are people that come around and measure. They must measure for emissions.
Okay. Okay.
We have to have a permit to serve food. We have to have I believe it's called a food service sanitation permit. We have to have one licensed person, but we just happen to have 3 at the moment.
Okay.
And we just learn how to handle food safely so that it's servable to the public. Every cashier needs a liquor license, so
Okay.
they have to take a class called the Responsible Beverage Server.
Okay.
That has to be done before they'll be issued a permit or a license to sell. Wow, I guess that's a lot of licenses and
That's
permits.
a lot of licenses, yes. Now, as far as being affiliated with CITGO, what do they demand of you?
First of all, they demand that we be open 365 days a year.
Okay.
That isn't always so pleasant for our employees. We need to serve CITGO fuel. We need to have CITGO fuel.
Okay.
They come by 4 times a year and inspect the store. They inspect the outside of the store for neatness and cleanliness. They'll walk through the bathrooms. They will particularly go to a cashier and make sure they're greeted properly. I believe since they've started that program, we've passed every inspection. We're pretty proud of that. We take a lot of pride in the cleanliness of the store. We get a lot of customers that come in and comment on the bathrooms.
Okay. Very good. I got another question. Jerry O'Neill. Training your employees. How do you start the ball rolling? You don't just throw them behind the cash register. What is the proper procedure to bring them up to speed?
I guess first of all, they get a tour of the store. And then we have videos that they can watch that show them a little bit about the cash registers we use. That's available through CITGO. That's a nice tool, actually.
Okay.
It'll talk about customer service in that video. And then we get them cleaning the store, stocking shelves, bagging ice,
Okay.
and behind the cash register. They train for 5 to 7 days, depending upon if they've ever done that kind of work before.
Okay.
You know, there's one thing Donald always said is that Bonde's Quik Mart served as such a nice stepping stone for young students and grandchildren, family members.
Mm-hmm.
It gives them a place to start out, learn how to deal with the public, and oftentimes move on to bigger and better.
Good. Very good.
Actually, could I add something?
Yeah, Russell has something. Go ahead. you
Yes,
identify
I'd like to
yourself.
talk with you. Thank you. If you identify yourself, please.
Russell Bonde.
Nice and loud, please.
Russell Bonde.
Thank you.
So with the training of the employees, there's so many different things that is asked of them that now we're just really trying to implement a training that's going to be 30 days of training.
30 days.
Right. It is just too much.
Okay.
We felt it's got to be too much to try to do in the 7 days as
Okay.
we've always done historically. So now we're up to, at least as of right now, 30 days of training.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Very good. Very good. Thank you for that. There's a young lady here who has a question. Go right ahead, please.
Well, it's more of a comment. I'm
Comment.
Edith, let's see.
And I know when they started to expand, and I live alone, so I was in the bakery one day, and I says, I don't want this packaged, and so, and Mr. Bonde came in there, she says, if she wants one, you give her one.
They take care of customers, right?
I can always remember that.
Very good, thank you. Okay, got a gentleman here who raised his hand. Go right ahead, please.
Charliebauer, in your location being next to the I system like that, I know on occasion you must have somebody just drive off without paying for the gas, but were you ever robbed at any point in your 25 years of doing business at that place?
Good. Okay, we have a young lady who can handle all the questions, and she'd like to identify herself, please.
I'm Karen Hennings. The second store, we had added the surveillance cameras like I talked about before, and I got a call at 1:30 that we had a break-in. Someone broke through the front door. But as soon as they heard the terrible wailing that these sirens make, they were gone in 20 seconds. So they maybe stole a few things. We think they might have taken some cigarettes, but that was the end of that.
Okay.
The cops have always been very good about driving through the lot, especially at closing time, because sometimes it is kind of scary for those employees
Sure.
late at night, especially if they've had people in the store that have been hanging around. And then, I think just last year, Memorial Day, we were robbed, or we were broken into. Actually, someone came in with a wheeled cart and went right back to the ATM machine and tried to remove it.
I mean, this is in Cleveland?
This is in Cleveland, and that those ATM machines are so heavy you can't budge them. So obviously he didn't know much about them. But again, we could see that on the cameras when we watched. I got a call in the middle of the night again to come down, and the police searched the place to make sure the guy wasn't inside. And then we could tell that someone had come in and tried to. There, I don't believe he took anything from the store. So again, we were lucky. All that sophisticated camera equipment paid off.
Mm-hmm. I noticed on some stores, we'll use example like Best Buy and so forth, they have pillars of concrete and steel pillars in front of the door so a vehicle can't get through this. Do you have that or intend to have that?
That is something I've never thought of.
Okay. Because nowadays, I guess they do take the vehicle, back it right into the doors and break in.
That probably happens.
Okay.
Hopefully not here.
Okay. As, just not to get it into your security systems there, but you have cameras viewing the outside area where the pumps are, and also, I'm sure, internally in the store also.
Right. We have 9, I think we have 9 cameras. A few
Wow.
outside and some inside.
Wow, great.
We have cameras at Kiel as well.
Good.
I believe we have 4. You almost need them
Yep.
today.
As far,
About drive-offs?
yes, okay, yes, what is the procedures?
We have some, not nearly, the problem isn't nearly as bad as what I understand from other stores. Because of the video cameras, sometimes we can tell that it's just normal customers that have come in the store and forgot. You know, they begin shopping
Sure.
and they maybe start talking to someone, and then we simply call them and say, gosh, do you realize you didn't pay for your gas? And, oh my God, I'll be right in. And they come and pay.
Okay.
Probably that happens in 80% of the times we have drive-offs, that it's people that aren't doing it intentionally.
Sure.
And the police are real good if we can get a license plate number, and we can tell them which direction they've traveled. Many times they'll stop them and say, hey, you forgot to pay, get back there. We need cashiers that are on the ball, though, and we
Okay.
have them.
Okay, good. Yes, just one moment, please. Okay, we got a young lady who raised her hand on a condition here. Go right ahead, please.
Okay, I'm Wanda Sabo.
Hi, Wanda.
I remember the early years in the old store, the inventory, how the gentleman would come and do the inventory, and the cleaning of the shelves. How is that handled now compared to, 15, 20 years ago?
Did you work there before we continue?
I did. I helped clean for
Okay.
a number of years
All
and
right.
helped with the inventory. And I just happened to think, I wonder what they do now.
And what years was that before we continue?
Probably mid-'80s.
Okay, all right,
Probably mid-'80s.
thank you. Okay, we got a young lady here who's been asked a question. Go right ahead, please.
Karen Hennings.
Thank you.
Yes, years ago, we had Wanda come in and clean, as well as Betty. Aunt Betty would come and help.
Is she here tonight?
She is.
Oh, okay.
We had about 24 feet of shelving at that time. So I believe someone came in once a week and cleaned. I'm not even sure. Now, we probably have 3 times that much. And that was the biggest, that was one of the biggest issues when we built that new store, how we were going to keep it clean. Louise Kerber cleaned for us for a long time. Now we just, I think we pretty much let the cashiers take some of their downtime and get it cleaned.
Okay. If I may ask this question, the people that you employ, like the people who clean, the persons who are at the cash register, are they pretty much local people?
Yes, we've had people from, that have gone to school in LTC.
Okay,
There was a young gal from Horicon. Her name was Lori Benter. She is married to a Henschel boy now and lives in the Cleveland area.
mm-hmm.
Mostly local. I don't think anyone drives more than 20 miles to get to work.
Okay.
And then I need to back up to Wanda too about the inventory. We do have, Condon Oil supplies our fuel. And they send someone out.
Who's that again, please?
Condon Oil?
Condon,
Condon Oil Company.
can you spell that?
Condon.
Okay,
They're
Okay.
in Ripon, and they send someone out quarterly to do inventory, and he'll count the entire store and leave us with, well, and then we compare it to our daily, because every day we do a little paper inventory.
okay. I've got a question also. You mentioned that you're on the board of directors and so forth, but you must have another title with all the information you seem to know. Could you indicate that?
We've kind of named myself general manager.
Okay, that answers a lot. And who are directly under you?
Russell, here to my right.
Okay,
He is store supervisor
are in Cleveland or both?
in Cleveland.
In Cleveland, thank you.
And then my niece Amy Kapelka, she runs the office and helps manage the employees.
Okay.
Karen Bryant has been with us a long time. She helps manage the cashiers.
Mm-hmm.
And then Nettie Fritz, who's here tonight, she heads the kitchen. So we meet weekly as a staff
Okay,
and just try to talk things over and make sure we're on the same page and
sure.
try to go out and do our best.
Okay. And you mentioned you're open not quite 24 hours a day. How many hours do you spend in the facility?
I arrive at 4 o'clock,
Okay,
about 3 days a week, and I'm usually there until 2.
okay,
I try to spend Tuesdays and Fridays at Kiel, because they don't really have a manager there. We employ about 6 or 7 people there,
mm-hmm,
and so I try to oversee things there as well.
okay,
I don't have to be there at 4, though.
okay.
AM, 4 a.m.
Thank you. The gentleman raised his hand. He might have a question. Go right ahead, please.
I'd like to know approximately how many, Paul Jacoby, Cleveland.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Paul.
How many thousands of gallons of gas you pump in a week?
Very good question. Thank you. Okay, this lady was doodling a little bit on that question on the paper there, but she says she's going to handle this one. Go right ahead, please.
Okay, we get about 4 to 5 loads of fuel.
Identification.
Oh, Karen Hennings,
Thank you.
General Manager.
Very good.
We get 4 to 5 loads of fuel a week in
Oh.
Cleveland, and they're each nearly 9,000. So I would guess between 35 and 40,000 gallons a month.
Wow.
A week, okay, let's divide that by 4.
Boom. Okay, mean a month. Okay.
Anybody got math on his?
About 9,000.
Okay.
Oh, no. We get 4 to 5 loads a week, and each one is nearly 9,000. We pump that a week.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
Okay, really, no.
Oh boy, it's good we have some mathematicians
Yeah.
beside myself.
Just go over that one more time, a little bit. No, what, this is per week.
We get 4 to 5 loads per week,
Okay.
and each load is about 8,500 gallons.
Okay. All right, that's a lot.
That's a lot of fuel.
That is. Holy man. Okay, very good. Okay, we got a young lady who raised her hand and she's smiling, so it's got to be a good one.
Not really. I'm Wanda Sabo. I was just wondering if Karen could explain with the last station you added the pumps, the self-service pumps, so that people could get their gas throughout the night when the station itself isn't open. If you'd want to, tell them about that. That was added later.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, we have a gentleman here who has volunteered, and he's going to take on the questions. Go right ahead, please.
Okay, Russell Bonde.
Thank you.
So you'd have to tell me about the years, but I believe it would have been 97, about 98, when we upgraded the pumps and put in what they called CRIND readers.
Say that word again.
CRIND, C-R-I-N-D.
Okay.
And what that allows is for somebody to stand at the pump and put a credit card in.
All right.
And most of the time get a little paper receipt at the end of that transaction without ever having to walk into the store.
Okay.
And that serves a couple purposes. It allows people to buy gas while we're closed.
Okay.
But also allows somebody who doesn't want to come into the store to not have to. And frankly, the third thing really is that a lot of people use it, I think, just to get a separate receipt, because you'll see a lot of people who use the credit card and then still walk into the store to purchase whatever carryout items that they want.
Okay, very good. Thank you. We had a lady who raised her hand, and she'll identify herself one more time, please.
Karen Hennings. I just want to add to the card reader, we get about 350 credit card transactions a day, and about 60% of those are at the pump, which means people are using their credit cards outside. That is a big change. We probably had 90 or 100 credit card transactions when we first opened the store, and now we have usually over 300 a day. I think that just shows that people use credit cards much more today.
Okay, just because I don't use a credit card in that fashion. Okay, you go up to your pump and you, as they say, swipe it, or not the word swipe gas, no. You run your card through this thing. So if the card doesn't have the funds, your pumps will not operate. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Okay. Very good. Thank you. The gentleman who raised his hand quite a few minutes ago, but he'd like to identify himself. Right ahead, please.
Randall Byrd. I just wanted to share a comment of when the store first opened. They barely had the roof on. The inside was not finished, but they had the gas tanks buried outside. And as soon as we buried the tanks, of course, you got to fill them with gas, because otherwise, if it rains, they're going to float out. Well, Donald said, when those tanks are full, we're selling. I'm not sitting on this money. What if the price of gas would go down? We have to sell. So we had a plank across the gravel where it was wet because the yard wasn't blacktopped or cemented yet.
Oh my God. Well, he's a good businessman. He knows what's tied up here. Okay, very good. Thank you so much.
Jacoby.
My friend.
I have a comment and a question. One, my daughters convinced me to use the pay at the pump. I was afraid, at first, but it works pretty slick. And they use it all the time when they are in the car with their little children. And that's the big advantage.
That's right.
With the children, infants in car seats.
That's a great idea, yeah.
And I was thinking, don't you recognize a benefit at the inside checkout desk if people don't stand in line there? Doesn't that relieve the clerks some if they pay at the pump? I mean, do you notice this, and is that part of your plan?
Okay, thank you, Fred. Got a question pertaining to the credit card usage and maybe leaving some work. Go right ahead, please.
Russell Bonde.
Thank you.
So, in some ways, that's a double-edged sword in that a convenience store really wants people to come into the store because it's those extra things that you like, that you want them to purchase. So in that way, when you watch cars filling at the pump, you know, in the back of your mind, you're thinking you're losing some inside sale. But on the other hand, certainly at times it does relieve the pressure from the cashiers. But like I said before, what amazes me is how many people pay at the pump and then still walk into the store. It amazes me every time I see that.
Okay, very good, thank you. Okay, I got a Mr. Gentleman here. I should say, I was going to say his name, but I'll let him do that. Go right ahead.
Charliebauer. We've been talking about the Bonde's Quik Mart, and it was started by Donald Bonde, and I think we should kind of find out here tonight where Donald is and how he's doing. That's my first question. And my second question is, we'd kind of like to get some information on that little hamburger place that was on the corner. Would be kind of on the northeast corner. I believe it was Cody's Hamburger. If anybody's got any information on that and how that got incorporated into the Bonde's property. That's about the end of my question.
Okay. First of all, we start with Mr. Bonde.
Yes, where Donald Bonde is tonight.
Okay.
We could probably have his wife Margie answer that question.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we got a young lady here who has been asked the question, and maybe she can help us out by identifying herself first of all.
Okay, I'm Margie Bonde. I'm Donald's wife. And he's had double knee replacement on last Tuesday, and he's doing pretty good.
Okay.
He's getting along real well, but he couldn't be here tonight.
Okay.
So,
Well, we miss him because he's done so much for that area. So anything that you can add as far as your involvement in the premises?
well, I know that when he had those gas pumps filled, him and I would go down at 5 o'clock in the morning and open the station and let people come in and buy gas, and we wrote everything down.
Oh boy.
And that was a little rough. They were working in there, and it was very,
at the
very
same time?
dusty,
Yeah.
and things, and yeah, that was a little bit rough at that time.
Okay. Well, let me ask a personal question.
Okay.
How many years are you married?
It'll be 56 years next month.
Really?
Yes.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Thank
And
you.
I have one other
Yes.
thing to mention. I was wondering if Karen would like to talk about when there's fires in the area. They asked us if we would open
Okay.
the gas station, and she would, well, Donald did in the beginning, would open it and be down there for the firemen.
Okay.
So now Karen does that.
All right. Very good.
And we always open the station for that, so they can
Oh.
get gas and
Okay.
fill their truck.
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Good. You got a young lady here who has been called upon many times this evening. Go right ahead, please.
Karen Hennings. A few weeks ago, there was a large fire at Wisconsin Box.
Yes.
And I just opted to leave the station open all night. My husband is a firefighter himself in Kiel, and it made me realize what it's like when there are hundreds of firefighters out there through the night and they
Okay.
need to get gas. There was the Salvation Army stopped by and picked up food. Oftentimes, if there's fires during the night, we just send donuts out to them.
Okay.
It's just a service that needs to be because there is nowhere else in the area
Right.
for the trucks to fill up.
Okay.
And I'm more than happy to do that.
Very good. Good. That's good customer relations, I'll tell you. Thank you.
Speak real loud because the people in the back cannot hear you.
Okay, very good choice. Okay, we have a young lady here who will identify herself, and she had a question a couple of minutes ago. Go right ahead, please.
Edith Litzy. And I was just going to comment that I don't know how many years ago, but I know that I always stopped there on Saturday morning and they filled my tank for me without me getting out of the car.
Wow. That is customer relation, I'll tell you. Thank you, Edith. Okay, Mr. Bauer is going to present a loaded question.
Okay, Charliebauer. that particular corner there had some historic buildings in there. First, there was the center school that was on the northeast corner there, and across from that was the Herman Salvage Yard, and of course Teresa Nenning and the Octagon Dance Hall there. And in the little corner there that now Bonde's Quik Mart sits on, there was a little hamburger stand, that Cody's hamburger stand. I'm just wondering if anybody's got any information on that or a photograph of that particular building.
Okay, good job. Thank you, Charlie. Okay, Ted, go right ahead, sir.
I put a roof on that eight-cornered building by Teresa there, and I went over by Cody's and I ate lunch that day.
Okay, very good. And can you describe what that all looked like by that Cody's area? Was it a house there that was built in with the restaurant, or was it all by itself?
That was just a little bit of a building.
Okay.
It didn't look like hardly anything, but they had good food.
Okay. And how many people, do you know how many stools perhaps were in this little building?
Not many.
Would a half a dozen?
Half a dozen, that's about all.
That's about all.
Yeah.
And the people that owned it, did you know them people?
I didn't know them, but when I worked putting that roof on there, we'd eat over there.
Okay, all right. And did other people that you know went there to eat also, or?
No, there were different people who went there. Yeah.
Okay. They did not serve any gas though, right?
No.
It was strictly, maybe after some beans, I don't know.
Good food they had.
They had good food though,
Yeah.
huh? Okay. Do you know how many years they were there?
Oh, I don't know how many years they were there before I got there.
Okay.
But, see, I'm not from Cleveland.
Right.
I'm a School Hill boy.
Yes.
And I'll tell you, Cleveland was a place, I was a roofer. I roofed all over the state.
Okay.
And I got a lot to Cleveland. It was kind of interesting little town.
Okay.
Tell them about when you roofed the church.
Oh, yeah, St. Wendel Church. I roofed all the churches. I roofed St. Wendel Church and the church in Kellnersville. And
how we got up there, though.
Oh, well,
the ladder on the truck.
It was rough, but we did it the rough way.
You did it the rough way, huh?
Everything the hard way.
Yeah.
Well, I'm the oldest Bonde of the whole bunch. So
Okay, how old are you, sir?
91.
91.
They had to follow my tracks.
Congratulations. Glad to have you aboard. Thank you so much. We got a gentleman here who raised his hand. He'll identify himself. Go right ahead, please.
Clarence Brooks from Cleveland. How did Burger King get involved with the gas station?
Okay, thank you.
That's a question I'd like to have answered.
Okay, we got a question for the young lady. Go right ahead, please.
About 19, okay, Karen Hennings.
Thank you.
All right. I believe it was about 1995 that we started thinking about building and what we were going to do and who would want to join us. So we checked. We checked with McDonald's. They weren't interested. Cleveland didn't have enough housetops. That's kind of how we got to go. Subway was on the back of our minds, and then I'm guessing about a year before we built, then we kind of got an okay from Burger King. So it was kind of who wanted to come and who could use the space.
Okay. Is this a leased area for them, or did they purchase part of
No,
the
it's
building?
leased. It's our building.
Okay.
And they occupy a third of it.
Okay. Very good. And they're really not in competition. They offer food like you offer some food, but
yeah. We did work hand in hand a bit. We kind of agreed that we would talk to each other when we offered a new product so that we weren't stepping on toes.
Sure. All right. Very good. Thank you. Yeah, could you identify yourself, please?
I'm Audrey Erdl.
Thank you, Audrey.
I don't actually remember the little restaurant. I know more about like Teresa's and the school, but there was a Green Bay stagecoach that came down there.
Okay.
And I know somebody that went to Central High School that drove with the Green Bay stage to Sheboygan every day. The bus stopped by her driveway and picked her up, but they would also stop on the intersection of it was old 149 and 141, and you could stop there or stop by Teresa, and that Green Bay stagecoach would pick you up.
Now, you're talking a stagecoach or a bus?
It's a bus, but it was called Green Bay
Oh,
Stagecoach.
really? Okay, okay.
I also am interested in finding out whether that Green Bay Stagecoach, somebody said that Union Road had a stagecoach way back in the 1800s. I don't know if that has anything to do with the stagecoach that went along 141.
Okay, all right.
But
But you say a bus would
it was
stop-
a bus, but it was called Green Bay Stagecoach.
Okay, and they would stop at that intersection?
They would stop at that interstation, and you could get picked up there or you could get left off there.
Okay, all right.
And Irene would probably
Wow.
know more about the restaurant than I do.
Okay, Irene, we got you. Can you identify yourself, please?
I'm Irene Dine.
Thank you.
I remember the restaurant. That was the years when we went out. We had a lot of fun there.
Okay, keep it going.
As far as I'm going there.
Okay.
But I do remember that, I think that picture, that first picture of that house,
Yes.
I remember was off to the southwest of that corner,
Okay.
off from that little restaurant building.
Okay, let us start again with the intersection name and then work our way direction-wise.
Okay, this is the southwest corner of Double X and Westview Street.
Okay,
Now, those
Now.
are the names of it now.
yes.
And that restaurant was right up, was kind of a little hill went up there, and that restaurant sat right in front of those houses
Okay.
on that little hill.
All right,
And I think there was a counter in there too,
okay,
besides the tables.
okay.
And he did have good food, and we always had fun. When we'd come from going out and after a dance, we always had to stop by Henry Cody and have lunch, so.
Okay. Question is, was there a residence behind this restaurant, or did they live in some other building that they
No,
called
there
home?
there wasn't a restaurant, a residence behind
No
there.
residence?
No.
Do you know where this Cody lived when they had that
Lived?
restaurant?
No, didn't he live in one of those houses?
Now, what house was this?
Behind there, behind that restaurant, there it is.
They had a house behind the restaurant?
Mhm.
Okay, so that went further west?
Yeah.
Okay, up the hill?
Southwest.
Southwest.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm gonna take a shot of that picture that's on the thing right now.
Yeah, and that's about all I know
Okay,
of.
and you stopped there after a night out and
Mhm,
drank some hot coffee, I presume?
No.
No?
He made good hamburgers.
He made good hamburgers?
Yes, he did.
Okay. Was it a husband and wife business?
Yeah.
It was a husband and wife
Henry
business?
Cody, Henry and Olive Cody.
Henry and Olive Cody?
Mhm, She was Olive Nennig before.
Oh, she was a nanny?
Mhm.
Would that be Teresa's Nenning's relation?
Somewhere.
Oh, okay, okay, very good. I'm gonna take a picture of that house if it's still up there. Okay, so this is the house that they indicate was west of the restaurant. You got a gentleman raise his hand, go right ahead, please.
Well, Jacoby, I can remember that was the only young hangout for young kids, and I went to high school from 57 to 61 when I graduated. I don't know when it shut down, but also he was my bus driver.
Oh, really?
School bus driver he kept his bus there and came around and picked me up. I was the second person on the bus, and then we went straight past Clarence Brooks and into the village through Hika. But
Okay.
he drove my bus the first 3 years I was.
Okay, very good. So
High
he had
school.
double duty there a little bit. Okay, thank you. Okay, we got a young lady who raised her hand, and maybe she can supply some information. Go right ahead, please.
Not a whole lot, Janet
Thank-
Seafeld.
One more time.
Janet Seafeld.
Thank you.
Not a whole lot more information. I do not remember the houses behind around the restaurant, but I do remember going there, as some of the others have said, after dancing and roller skating, and we
Okay.
used to call it Frenchies. We didn't know it as Cody's at the time.
Okay, you called it
We
Frenchies?
called it Frenchies.
Really?
And I think hamburgers probably were about a quarter, 50 cents, and the chocolate malts and the fries.
Okay.
And we were lucky to go if we could afford it that Friday night or whatever.
Okay.
So that's about it.
Okay.
But
Very,
it was a good hangout, and we had lots of fun there.
wow. Was there room enough for all these youngsters?
No.
No. Okay.
No, we just kind of hung out.
Okay. Okay, we got a young lady who had her hand up, and she's going to present herself.
Mary Lou Webster. My husband said they used to hang out there after skating at the eating French fries
Okay.
and hamburgers. Very good place.
Really? Okay. I know, like I said, there was people that worked at Lakeshore Canning Company, where I did too, and they'd come there for a little lunch or whatever it is too. And any other thoughts that you can recall there? Now they had, you said malts and ice cream and the whole thing?
And French fries.
And French fries?
Good hamburgers.
Good hamburgers, huh?
Lots of French fries.
Did he have a special type of food that was sort of their trademark, if you will?
I don't think so.
Like a
Somebody
double
mentioned
hamburger
chili.
with a wiener on it or something?
They had chili, my husband said.
They had chili also?
Very good.
Okay. So this place was pretty popular apparently.
Oh, yeah.
Very good. Thank you so much. The gentleman here who had his hand up for a little information, but he gave it up for a bit here, and now I'm back with him. Go right ahead, please.
Okay, Russell Bonde.
Thank you, Russell.
Well, I don't remember Cody's restaurant, but I did live in that house that was up there.
You did live in that house.
Right.
Great.
And actually, my sister Cheryl lived there probably for a month or two, just prior to the demolition of it.
Really?
But I do remember my brother and I going to, my brother Tony lived there with me,
Okay.
and we would go to Teresa's bar
All right.
and close it down every night of the week, because she closed at about 9:30 at that time. 10 o'clock once in a while if we really talked her into it.
Okay.
And so that was interesting, and I'll always remember Teresa's bar. She had the old silver tappers on humid days would sweat, and she'd have her little towels around it. But,
Keep going.
she
I
always
love this. I love this.
She always poured a little big glass of beer.
Okay.
And I guess I can share one other Teresa Nenning story that stands out for us. We were in there one night, probably was getting late, 9 o'clock or so. And it was a fly which flew into a spider's web.
Oh.
And the spider scurried over to get it, and it didn't take her 30 seconds, and she saved the fly and released it. And that was just very memorable.
She had priorities there.
Yep, so that would have been 1980.
Okay.
That would have been about 80.
Okay, very good. But you had good times at that location also.
Oh yeah, and the house was ready to be tore down,
Okay.
probably 10 years prior to what
Okay.
it did.
As far as the house, a little more description. Was there a basement, upstairs, things like that?
There was an upstairs that had, there was heat only in the downstairs, and then it had big grates so that in the floor,
Yep.
so that the heat would get up into
Okay.
there.
All right.
It had 2 stories only on part of it, and then there was like I don't know if I'd call it a lean-to, but there was a building built off to the side
Okay.
that had a downstairs room, and then a garage off of that. And
All right.
I think there was a basement, because I think I remember going down there. We could push like a butter knife through the beams down there.
Oh, dry rot or what is it called?
Right.
Oh, okay. Was it a log home by any chance?
No.
Okay. It was as Mr. Bauer, he's up on this stuff, a balloon construction with 2x4s.
I don't remember how it was built.
Okay.
I just know that, it was a small house.
All right.
And it probably was time for it to be tore
Okay.
down when it
All
was.
right. Very good. Well, thank you for sharing. We appreciate that.
Yeah,
and
you're
good
welcome.
memories from Hennings there too.
You bet.
Thank you.
You bet.
A question here? Right ahead, please.
Paul Jacoby from
Yes.
Cleveland.
Yes, Paul.
Was French's restaurant still standing when the house went down?
Okay, good question. I'll be right back. Okay, we have a question on the floor pertaining to the home that this gentleman had lived in at one time. Go right ahead, please.
Russell Bonde.
Thank you.
So I think, if I remember right, my brother and I lived in that White House for probably under 2 years. But that restaurant, which was the restaurant, was standing. It had been converted to a house prior to Charles Kramer and my dad buying it. And there were renters in there. So the renters in that green building, it was still green, which I think I was told was the color of the restaurant.
Okay.
And there were renters there, and then we rented that house. So
Okay.
they were in our way of that restaurant. We had to walk around to get to Teresa's. That I remember.
On the way back, it wasn't not important.
No, we didn't see it then. It was 9 o'clock. It was dark.
But now what you're saying, just to go over that one, the restaurant was there. They went out of business or whatever they did, or retired. I have no idea. Maybe somebody might know. But then it became a rental property for a home.
Right. It was. There were a couple of people living in there that rented it and used it as a home.
All right. Okay.
And it was tore down then along with the house.
All right. Simultaneously then. Huh?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Very good. Thank you for that information. Got a gentleman here who raised his hand. Go right ahead, please.
Randall Byrd. I just wanted to make a comment on the two buildings there.
Yes.
They were not very far apart in distance.
Okay.
The green building was a cement block building. And the
Okay.
house was 2x4 construction, because when we tore it down, we pulled the nails out and we took the 2x4s home to use on the farm.
Okay. Okay. Very good. But that restaurant you indicate was a,
It was a cement block. Yep.
Okay. Okay. Good information. Thank you so much. Okay. Here we go. Would you provide your name, please?
Audrey Ertl, I
Thank
have
you.
a question. Are the treasurer, the bookkeeper, the cashiers, are they bonded?
Okay. Good question. Good question. Thank you. Okay. We have a question pertaining to bonding of, and that's not bonding in the way you think of it is, but bonding of your employees.
No, I don't believe so.
Well, I was just curious because at the co-op, I was the bookkeeper and I had to be bonded. They paid a bond every year.
I know nothing of that.
Okay. Very good. Okay.
It's
Thank
like
you.
an insurance to protect you from people working for you absconding with funds.
Okay, we do have insurance, and employee theft is included in that.
Okay.
But I never heard the term having them bonded before.
Okay.
So.
Very good. Thank you. We have a question from the young lady. Go right ahead, please.
I'm Kathy Sixel, and I want to know if Donald and Margie own the station, and how many children they have, and how you derive by your board of directors. How is the financial structure or your structured?
Okay, thank you. We got a question on the floor pertaining to the structure and some of the family things, I guess. Go right ahead.
Okay, Karen Hennings,
Thank you.
Donald and Margie. They have 9 children,
Okay.
and when they built the building in 1982, it was simply their company. Then in 1991, I believe they made it into a corporation, and they divided it into 9,000 shares because there are 9 children in the family,
Okay.
and they owned those shares for a while. Then they gifted a few of them to us, and that made us all shareholders.
Mhm.
That's when we began having the shareholder meetings every year. And of course, when you form a corporation, your lawyer puts together this big book, which is probably 80 to 100 pages, and we read that and try to follow the rules. The shareholders vote on a board of directors, and we agreed to keep the board of directors within the family rather than anyone outside. I think we could do it different if we wanted to, but the shareholders opted to do it that way. Every year we vote on the board, and it's changed a bit over the past. There's always been 5 members, an odd number, so that if a very crucial vote comes up, we can get by with a consensus or whatever if there's an uneven number.
Thank you very much. Got a young lady who put her hand up. Go right ahead, please.
Marie Pippert,
Yes.
I think Karen doesn't have enough to do yet. She's also a very good singer.
Whoa.
Have her tell you about that.
I will do that. Okay, we have a question pertaining to her musical abilities. Go right ahead, please.
Okay, Karen Hennings. I grew up singing in the barn with my dad.
Oh.
And from there, we went to the church choir with Mom and Dad. Most of us sang in the church choir.
Okay.
My sister Cheryl and I sang for our first wedding when we were 14 and 16, my brother Randy in the back.
Wow.
And since then, I've been singing for weddings and funerals, and I love to sing.
Very good. Well, that's enjoyable, I'll tell you. You got the talent exploited a little bit. Okay, thank you. A question from the videographer, I guess, pertaining to the house I think she lived in for a short term, and maybe she'd like to talk about it.
Yes, I'm Cheryl Cloak,
Thank you.
and my brothers Russell and Tony, we all were very close in age, and I needed a place to stay for a few months, and naturally they opened their doors to me, and they gave me the unheated upstairs to sleep in for those couple months, and that really is all it lasted. By that time, we knew that the homes would be demolished,
Okay.
and there were plans already in the makings for Bonde's Quik Mart.
Oh, okay. Very good. Thank you for supplying that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, we have a lady with some questions. Go right ahead, please.
Kathy Sixel, and I want to know, like the family, what some of the other things are that they do.
Okay.
They're involved in the business, but I'd like to know what the family members do.
Okay, very good, thank you. Okay, we're presenting some questions to the people who are employed and the people who are related to the family of the Bondes, and it pertains to giving their full name, how they're related, if they are a member of the family, and as an employee, how long they've been employed by the Bonde Corporation. So if you go right ahead and identify yourself, please.
All right, I'm Cheryl Cloak. I'm number 6 of the children of Donald and Margie.
Okay.
And I actually worked at the Quik Mart from 1982
Okay.
until 1989. And I helped do cashiering and helped Donald in the office doing the bookwork.
All right.
I've also served on the board of directors from the beginning until present.
Okay, very good. Thank you for that. That's perfect. We got a young lady who'd like to indicate her status with the relatives and the employees.
Okay, I'm Karen Hennings. I'm the middle child, and I've been working at Bonde's since 1992
Okay,
and serve as the general manager
all right,
today.
all right. And general manager for how long, if I may ask?
I believe it was in 1996
Okay.
that I kind of took over managing.
All right, very good. Thank you. We have a gentleman here who can relate some information about himself also.
Okay, Russell Bonde. I've been working part-time at the Quik Mart for 3 years,
Okay.
about. I am number 8 of 9.
Really?
And when I'm not doing that, I farm on West Washington Road.
Okay. Where's that farm located? More specific, if you could.
It is about 2 miles west of Highway 42
Okay.
on West Washington Road.
All right.
And have about 300 cows.
Wow.
And actually my mother's, if you go back far enough, my mother's brother used to own that farm in the, probably up to about the late 60s.
Okay.
And eventually Donald and Margie bought it, and eventually I'm milking cows on it.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. Okay, same questions go for you, young lady, and if you could identify yourself and provide something.
All right, well, I'm Wanda Sabo. I'm number 2 of the 9.
Okay.
I think I worked there maybe 3 years, helping with the inventory and doing the cleaning in the early 80s,
Okay.
early to mid 80s. So that's been,
Okay.
that's been my role.
And then right now at the present, you do not work there.
No, I do not.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, we have a young lady here who will indicate her name, please, and provide some information. Go right ahead, please.
Betty Bonde, and I worked as Betty Bonde, and
Thank
I
you.
worked as cleaning the shelves and taking inventory from 1988 till about 1994.
Okay. And you presently do not work there at this time?
No.
Okay. Thank you very much. And I'll just pan across here to this young lady, and she can indicate how many years she's been involved in the business and the relative of.
I'm Margie, Donald's wife, and I don't know how long I worked there. I started with Donald on the cashier when we first opened to sell gas. Then we opened the deli, and I worked in the deli maybe 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
And then my knees gave me trouble, so I retired.
Very good. Good choice. Good choice. Thank you. Okay, if you'd give us your name, please.
Roman Bonde.
Thank you.
I'm a brother of Donald's. I
Okay.
never worked in the with any of his business, but I did a lot of work with him hunting.
Oh, okay. You call that work, huh? Very good. And did we get, yeah, didn't get your age though. How old are you, sir?
76.
76 years old. Thank you very much. Thank you. Go right ahead, please.
I'm Randall Bonde. I'm number 3 of the 9 children of Donald and Margie's.
Wow.
I never worked as a paid employee for Bonde's Quik Mart, but I think like the rest of the rest of us kids, whenever there was something to do, we all pitched in, tearing down buildings and
Really?
doing that stuff. I
Wonderful.
did purchase Donald's dairy farm,
Okay.
and he always said, whenever I asked him if the Quik Mart was making any money, he said, "No, I'm just glad I got a farm supporting me."
Oh.
So we also, besides dairy farming, we also have a contract to finish flowers for a company called Natural Beauty out of Denmark.
Okay.
We finish about a little over 1 million plants every spring for them.
Wow.
Mostly spring bedding flowers.
Wow. This is on your facility?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. Good. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Okay, and who do we have here, please?
Your name? Loretta.
Loretta, thank you. And how old are you, Loretta?
89.
89. My goodness, you're looking great. Thank you. And who do you have next to you?
I'm Frances, Donald's sister,
Okay.
and I'm 87.
87. Looking great also. And who do you have here, please?
I don't know about, well, I'm married to a Bonde, but
Go right ahead. Go. Go with the ball. Go right ahead. And what is your name again?
Virginette.
Jeanette?
Virginette.
Oh, Virginette. Okay, thank you. And your last name is Bonde, of course.
Yeah.
Thank you. And who do you have here in the back?
I get Ted Bonde.
Ted Bonde. And Ted, you told us how old you are, right?
Yeah, I was 91.
Okay, thanks, Ted. Appreciate it. We got a smiling young lady, and she'd like to identify herself. Go ahead, please.
I'm Jeanette Johnson. I've been with Bonde's for 24 years,
Wow.
since 1983,
Great.
and they're very nice people to work for.
Good.
Very happy to be there
Good.
as a cashier.
As a cashier.
Yes.
Well, they don't let anybody on the cashier end of it, do they? You're doing something right. Thank you very much. And who do you have here, please?
I'm Janet Seefeld. I've been working at Bonde's for, I believe, somewhere between 8 and 9 years.
Okay.
I work in the deli, and like Jeanette, I'm very happy to be part of the Bonde crew.
Wonderful. Thank you
They're
very
very
much.
nice people to work for.
That sounds that way. Very good. And we have another young lady. Go right ahead, please.
I'm Mary Lou Webster. I have been working for Bonde's for 7 years.
Okay.
And I've been working in deli, and I'm very happy to be with the Bonde's.
Very good. Thank you so much. We got a gentleman here who would like to identify himself and indicate how he's involved with the Bonde family.
I'm Alex Bonde.
Okay, Alex.
I'm one of the older brothers.
Older brothers.
Of Donald.
You're Donald.
So,
Okay.
yeah. But I never worked for the company of that. I worked all my life at the Manitowoc Cranes.
Okay.
For 45 years I
Wow.
put in there.
Great, great.
But now I'm retired.
You're retired. Good times, good times. I'm going to ask your age, please.
85.
85. Looking great. Looking good. And we got a young lady here. She can identify herself, please.
I'm Rita Bonde. I'm Alex's wife,
Okay.
and I'm not affiliated with the business or anything. We just patronize them.
Wow, that's.
They need that
I
too.
tell you, that's great. Support anywhere.
Right.
Thank you so much. And who do you have here, please?
I'm Mary Olson. I've been a baker with the Bonde's from day one.
Okay.
And I've got 19 years in.
Wow.
And I must say I've enjoyed all the years working for them. I look forward to going into work.
Wonderful. That's great. That's super to hear. And who do you have here, please?
I'm Jeanette Fritz.
Okay.
I've been with Bonde's since August of '99.
Okay.
I work in the bakery.
All right.
I'm also a kitchen supervisor, and they're great people to work for.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. the young lady here who will pass on some information about our upcoming meeting, perhaps. Go right ahead.
Well, first of all, I want to thank the Bonde family, and I want to thank all their employees. It was wonderful that they came to share their history. Our next meeting will be October 8th, and it's going to be Bugs Bar from Cleveland.
Bud's Bar.
Bugs' Bar.
Oh, Bugs? Would you spell that just so I'm clear on that?
B-U-G''S.
Oh, okay.
Bugs.
Bugs, okay.
So we hope to see everybody here, and we're going to wind down now, but we would like to take a picture of all the employees lining up from those former employees, you know, and all the way down to the ones that are still there.
Okay, very good. And don't go away then, folks. Don't go away. Okay, I guess we'll have our final sign-off with people giving their name one last time, please.
Kathy Sixel.
Thank you, Kathy. And who do you have here?
Jeanette Fritz.
Thank you.
Mary Olson.
Thank you very much.
Rita Bonde.
Thank you.
Alex Bonde.
Thank you for coming.
Janet Miller.
Thank you, Janet.
Kathy Wagner.
Thank you, Kathy.
Joe Kress.
Joel, thank you always for coming.
Walter Kress.
Walter, you're always there for us. And who do you
Mary
have?
Webster.
Thank you.
Janet Seefeld.
Thank you very much.
Jeanette Johnson.
Thank you.
Melvin Yaney.
Thank you, Melvin.
Ellsworth Yeager.
Thank you for coming.
Clarence Brookson.
Thank you, Clarence.
Virginia Brookson.
Virginia, thank you for coming. I'm going to go to the back row, folks. Nice and loud, please. Your name one more time.
Your name.
Loretta. Hi, Loretta. And we have another lady there.
Francis Hutchison.
Thank you. And who do you have here, please?
Virginette Bonde.
Thank you very much. And the gentleman at the end?
Ted Bonde.
Hi, Ted. Thank you. And here we go again.
Randall Byrd.
Thank you, Randall.
Roman Bonde.
Thank you. Very good. Thank you for coming.
Margie Bonde.
Margie, thank you for coming, and wish Don the best, okay?
All the best.
Thank you. And who do you have here, please?
Betty Bonde.
Thank you, Betty. And who do you have here, please?
John Wiegand.
Thank you, John.
Audrey Erdl.
Thank you, Audrey.
Irene Dine.
Irene, thank you for everything.
Carl Ziegler.
Carl, thank you.
Frederick Jacoby.
Thank you, Fred.
Paul Jacoby.
Thank you, Paul.
Marie Pippert.
Thank you, Marie.
Edith Litzy.
Thank you, Edith.
Bonde Sabo.
Thank you for coming.
Russell Bonde.
Thank you, Russell, for a lot of good information.
Charliebauer.
Thank you, Charlie.
Karen Hennings.
Thank you, Karen, for a great job tonight. I got to tell you, you're doing fine. And who do you have here, please?
Cheryl Cloak.
Thank you very much. And this is Jerry O'Neill, the videographer for the Greater Centerville Historians. And we're signing off for the evening. And I guess we'll just have a final sign-off by the young lady we've been relying on quite a bit. Go right ahead, please.
Oh, I forgot to do one thing. Remember last month I asked you if anybody had any information about what is the firehouse today? It used to be the Sherryscheidt garage. Well, Carl Ziegler had a newspaper ad when it opened up. So I will pass this around. The Highway Commissioner of Manitowoc County wanted this for his collection.
Okay, very good.
Thank you, Carly. That was really nice. And this is just a copy of it.
Is there anything you want to indicate about the Cleveland Bank and what they did for us at all? Do you recall what we want to say there?
Well, we want to thank the Cleveland Bank for the generous donation of $2,000 to our group to further our history, which
Okay.
was really wonderful, and we're very thankful for it.
Okay, very good. Thanks, Kathy.
And also, anybody that would like a video of this or a DVD can see Jerry and tell him. We
Okay.
will have one for your family, though. Okay? Yeah.
Okay, very good. And again, our meeting for next month,
Will be October 8th,
October
the
8th.
second Monday.
Okay,
And
very,
everyone is invited.
okay. Thank you very much, Kathy.
You're welcome.
Good night. And we don't need to be quiet because there's going to be music over this. And I'm going to come in and do just a walkthrough. And it looks like it's taking forever, right?
It is.
Okay, you're doing good. Okay, I'm going to back out. Okay, Boy, that's a big
Smiley
group.
This is the hardest you worked all night, huh?